So before we jump into this video, I need to bring you up to speed. If you've been following along, you will know that we're building a trail that starts at our top of our property and snakes its way down to the bottom. We're calling it Route 301 because it's the first machine-built trail, or first trail I've built completely with a mini excavator. Now, in the last video, we built the end of the middle of the trail. And that's because before we started building the top of the trail, there were a few things we needed to do. Mainly, we needed to build the dirt jumps, and it was just easiest if we built the dirt jumps first before we built the beginning of this trail. That way, we wouldn't be undoing any of our work. In the last video, we connected it back to the service road, even though we have plans to make our way down to the bottom. That last little bit of that trail is actually going to be really tough. There's a lot of rocks, there are a lot of moisture, and we're not exactly sure where the trail was going to go at that time. And so since winter was coming, it just made sense, if we wanted the trail to be rideable in the spring, to bring it back to the service road, so at least that section of trail would be ready to ride when the spring came around. It's actually been 9 months or so since we did any trail work to this trail. Now, one of the reasons we haven't done any work to it since then is we actually had a few other projects that we wanted to take care of in the meantime. We wanted to put a few features on some of our other trails, and as you know, my main channel is Skills with Phil, and I had a few trips that I needed to go on to make content for that channel. So in the meantime, we got all that work done. I went on a few trips. I posted a bunch of videos on my main channel. Now we're finally circling back to this project now that we're ready to get started. All right, today we're circling back to this project. So this project, as you might remember, we started in the fall of last year, and I kind of started it without filming it because I just wanted to practice some building skills with excavator. And then it got to the point where it started to get really cool, and I wish I did film it. However, one of the cool things about this trail is we've got some of these rock armored creek crossings. And it was one of the first times I got to do any kind of rock work. But I was also trying to make this trail as least intrusive as possible. Like, I wanted to make this kind of more realistic in terms of a trail, and less kind of like what Toad's Road had turned into, which was like the trail that had a bunch of features on. So what we need to do is go back to the beginning. Right now, it uses one of our access roads here and there. So this trail starts right behind the dirt jumps. The plan is to have it actually start at the same starting hill. You'll come around to the outside of the berm, jump over that water bar, come through here, and wrap around, and eventually make your way to the trail. So that's been the plan for a while, and it's been on hold for a little bit, and today is the day that I want to finally get around to building the beginning of this trail. For what it's worth, this is the same access road that we were on before, and this is where the trail is currently coming out. So over here, there's a bunch of rock armoring as well. Right here, right there, and then that's the flyover on Toad's Road. All right, grabbing the excavator. It's been parked here since I finished the bottom half of this trail, which still haven't figured out a name for it, and still haven't figured out what we're doing after this. So kind of leaving this trail a little bit on hiatus. I have thought about going left, going right, but we'll figure that out down the line. I'm going to give myself a little bit more time to think about what we want to do with the trail. Anyway, I need to grease this bad boy up. Nice. All right, with that adventure out of the way, we're ready to get started on the beginning part. Only 1 hour later. All right, let's put you into time lapse mode and start fiddling away. This little bit ended up being more of a process than I was expecting, because this whole side right here is all this organic stuff that at first I was going to build with, and then I don't know, I had a change of heart, so I decided to kind of scrap some of it and scoop out some of this brown gold that I was able to find. But now I've got a bit of a mess that I need to go through and clean up. All right, so we're back on the project. Took a few days off. I was supposed to do this the day after I finished it. However, I ended up having a day where I just had to respond to a bunch of emails and phone calls. So in the meantime, we got some rain, and luckily it wasn't too bad, but it should help pack this section quite a bit. So we're gonna finish this all by hand. So Haley's over grabbing the rakes, and we're gonna chop out some of these roots and just kind of clean up the sides. I think we should be good from there. This section right here, I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna completely finish it. We got some good dirt on it, so it should pack fine. But I want to leave it open to a few different options down the line. For right now, we're just putting it onto the fire road, but there's a possibility we might change that and do something else down the line. But for right now, that's a good temporary option, so that's what we're gonna do. When I was excavating, I put a bunch of the organic stuff over here, and I've been taking that duff, I've been applying it to the sides. That way, instead of it just being over here, which would be fine, but we can get rid of that pile and also kind of re-naturalize the surface of this. Hopefully, a lot of that stuff has like some root systems and some seeds already established, so hopefully it'll kind of recover quicker. One of like the beliefs I have with trail building is it has to blend into the environment. If it takes you out of the environment and if it feels jarring, something looks machine built. You can see the claw marks, you can see the tracks. It just takes you out of the nature environment. It just feels dirty. We moved up to the top because we're now in the shade up here. So we're gonna go ahead and clean up all these rocks and stuff and clean up the beginning of the trail. And I think that will be it for this part of the project because we're doing it in little bursts and it's starting to get a little warm out. So I think for now that will be good enough. So let's get to it. All right, so we've gone ahead and packed it in, naturalized it, and it's looking a whole lot better. Not bad. I'm like really pumped with how this is shaping up. We might do something more over here at the end. And the other thing that we could do eventually, it's as I was building this, it would actually be kind of nice to incorporate this as like an outside line for the pump track. So you kind of jump in and jump out, but this is mainly going to be a standalone trail. So yeah, turned out good.